Hey y'all, it's Diane with Shawcraft One and my old barn door, and I wanted to make a video. This is going to be a multi-purpose video. I want to show you how to do some wire wrapping because I had one of my subbies, my friend, who asked me to do a tutorial showing how to do that. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to do several different wire wraps just to kind of show you some variety that you can use, but I also thought that while I'm doing it, it would be a great idea to show you how to take your beads on the go. I know that I did a video, I think my last video, showing how to take some things, crafting on the go. So I thought I would include this in that and show you how to take some things on the go for your beading. So first things first, you want your bag, and again, it's a reused bag, no big deal, there's no holes. So what I did was I tried to think of all of the things that I want to use when I'm making my beads. So I have a little variety here. First off, I want to show you all the tools that I use. I do use this because it keeps the beads from rolling. And then I have a pair of bent nose pliers. They're just cheap little, inexpensive pliers. I have my round nose pliers. I got this at Hobby Lobby. They're fairly inexpensive as well. I got my flesh cutters. They cut the wire. And then I have another tiny little pair of pliers here that I use because sometimes my hands don't want to work as good as they used to. Imagine that. And so I can use the pliers, both pairs of pliers, and it helps to be able to do that. So I would take all of my little tools, put them in my bag. You can take you can take this with you because it'll fit in your bag just fine. So let's put this in the bag. Now, you probably will need a little more room with this if you want to use, your mat. But we'll just keep going. Okay, and so then I thought, okay, what would I want to make on the go? So you're going to need your wire. So I have this roll of wire. It's 20 gauge wire that I got from Hobby Lobby. So we'll put that in. Then you're going to need some beads, and it doesn't take a very big container for your beads. And I mean, I didn't put a whole bunch in here because I don't want to take all my beads out because I have them all separated, in my little cases like this. And so I have them separated by colors and things. But this just kind of gives you an idea. You can grab a few beads, throw them in a little container, and chuck them in here. Now, if you have an extra one of these, I got this, I think, at Hobby Lobby. You could fill these with different kinds of beads and different kinds of spacers and jump rings and your little toppers. I know there's a name for them and I can't remember it right now, so we're calling them toppers. Little lobster claws, so you could use one side, to put your metal pieces in, and one side to put your beads in, and then you wouldn't need this little container because this will just slide right in. Now, again, I didn't have an empty one of these, so I didn't want to take all of this out, put beads in just to show you, but you guys are smart, y'all get it. So you could do that. You could, get yourself an extra one of these, tuck it in there with your beads and all your goodies in it, and then I have these. I have this little container that has little bulb pins. If you didn't want to put them in here, you could leave them in here, or you could add some to it. But it fits into the bag really well. Paper clips. And these little boxes here are just from where I've bought paper clips, I think at the dollar store or somewhere. Well, is it going to open? Okay, there we go. So I just took the paper clips out and I used these little boxes, for on-the-go things. So you can put your little bags of lobster claws or whatever. And then I've got my eye pins or my head pins. Either whatever you prefer to use, you can use either. And I just put in several different sizes, several different metal colors in there so that I could have a variety of ones to use for whatever project that I'm working on. So that fits in nicely. And if you didn't want to put beads in here, hey, your little bowl will still fit in here. And then you have a bead bag for on the go. And you can just grab it and take it with you as you go. So that's another idea for a craft that you can take on the go with you. And so now I'm going to take everything out of the bag and I'm going to show you the different ways that I do my beads. So let me just pull these out. It's really nice though that you can, you can just fit everything in one bag and grab it as you go out the door. All right, so the first thing I want to show you how I do. Now, I'm sure probably the majority of you know how to do it, and you may not, and it's, either way is okay, but I was asked to do it, so I'm going to do it. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer to the mat, because this is, it's kind of tedious work, and it's hard to do it on camera, so y'all bear with me, and I'll do the best I can. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is just a basic bead. All right, so we're just going to pull a bead out of here. Let's do a purple. Okay, so we have our purple bead. I'm going to zoom in a little closer. Hopefully the lighting's okay. All right, so focus. Y'all, the last time I did one of these bead videos, I had a hard time with my focus, so bear with me with the focus. All right, so we have a bead, and then the hole on this bead is kind of big. And so what I would do is I would take one of my little spacers, and I did throw some down in here, just in case you don't want to take this big thing with you on the go. You can just throw your spacers and things down here into your little bowl with your beads. Okay, so I just have a little daisy spacer. All right, and then I'm going to take, you can do it one of two ways. You can either take your wire and make a head pin if you don't want to take the the little box of head pins with you. So I'll show you how to do that. You just want to take however long a strand of your wire that you think you'll need to fit your bead in your spacer. And you're just going to take your flesh cutters and trim that piece off. Then you're going to take your round nose pliers and you're going to go to the very end of your wire, and you're going to put it about, I don't know, a third of the way up your round nose pliers. Hopefully it's focusing for you. Okay, and you want that wire to be kind of flush with the top there, and then you're just going to take it and you're just going to curl it around. I didn't show you that very good, did I? Let me start again. Sorry, I'm trying to stay in the camera, so be patient with me. All right, so you're just going to take your wire and you're just going to curl it all the way around your plier. So you're going to get something that looks kind of like this. Okay, and then you're going to pull this out, and it's going to be a little bit wonky. Sorry about the focusing issues. So then you're just going to play with it, and you're just going to take, like I'm just going to take my little pliers here, and I'm just going to kind of straighten it up a little bit. Take my round nose pliers and just kind of close that little gap and make sure that it's closed. Hopefully it's focusing for y'all. Okay, and then I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to move some of this stuff and see if that will help with the focus. There we go. Sorry. So I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to go back into the hole kind of backwards, and I'm just going to twist it back just a little bit, and it makes the neck of it for you. Okay, I know what the problem is. My autofocus is on. All right, let's see if that helps. I'm so sorry, guys. So you can make it like that. You can make your own little eye pin, or you can use a head pin. If you use an eye pin, you know, the eye pin, the difference, let me show you the difference. An eye pin has the little hole at the bottom. A head pin has just a little piece at the bottom that keeps your bead from moving. Okay, so you can use either one. You can make your own with your wire, or you can buy them. You can buy these eye pins, or you can use the head pin. I'm going to use the head pin for this because I like to have a flat bottom. So I'm just going to take my little spacer bead here and bead it onto my head pin, and then I'm going to put my bead in, and then I want to put something on the top of this bead so that it doesn't leave, you know, just like that big hole showing there. So let's find something that we can top our bead with. So I have a little, oh my gosh, y'all, I always do this when I'm beading on video. I never can remember the terms. I apologize. I'll think of it as soon as the video is over, I promise. All right, so now we have that attached, and then we're going to take our round nose pliers and we're going to put it flush up against our bead there, okay? And I'm going to go about halfway in, a little less than halfway in, so that I can make my loop for my bead, okay? So we're going to go at a 90-degree angle there. Then I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm just going to twist them to the top so it looks like that, okay? And then I'm going to pull this wire back to me and go down, okay? Once I go down, I'm going to twist my pliers, my round nose pliers up so that it looks like that, and you have your wire on the bottom piece of the pliers. And then I'm just going to pull this underneath and kind of straight out the back. Okay, so that gives you a good loop. Whoops. Okay, now once I do that, I have to change hands with my round nose pliers. So I just put my round nose pliers in my right hand, and you have something that looks like that, and you have your wire sticking up. And some people can just do it with their hand. My hands aren't strong enough anymore, so I take my pliers and I'm just going to wrap this wire around this piece of wire about 3 times. Okay, so 1, be careful, I have hit myself in the face so many times doing that. And this is, I think, and you may need to do it more than 3 times. It's according to how long your stem right here is. But I just wrap it until I get it flush up against my piece here, and my bead is good and tight, and it's not sliding up and down my pin. Okay, so once I have that done, then I'm going to turn this around so I can see better what I'm doing. And I'm going to take my flush cutters, and I am going to, now it gets a little fiddly doing it, but you just do it however works for you. And then I'm just going to take my flush cutters, and I'm going to cut as close to the bead as I possibly can. So now that I've got it where I want it, I'm going to hold that so that it doesn't flick this extra piece that's coming off. I don't want that flying into my eye. So, okay, whoops. So now we have something that looks like this. Okay, so what I want to do is I want a feel of this to see if I can feel any of that wire sticking out, and I can. So I'm going to take my little pliers here, And I'm going to push on this and just straighten this up a little. Oh, sorry. So I'm just going to straighten that up a little. And then I'm going to hold it here. And I'm going to take my curved pliers and I'm just going to squeeze that wire on around so that it's not sticking out at all, because you don't want it catching on your hair if you're using it as earrings, or you don't want it catching on fabric if you're using it in a journal, but you just want to make sure that it's good and flush. Okay, so that's how I do my wire wrapped beads. Okay, and so now I can take this and I can either put it on a ball pen, and pin it to my journal that way. Cute little dangle. Or I can take a paper clip and you can either leave the paper clip like this or you can curl the edges. I'll go ahead and curl the edges to show you how I do it. So I'm just going to take my paper clip in my round nose pliers. And now these are a little hard to do because this paper clip wire is kind of strong. So you're just going to twist it around until it wraps around and touches itself. Okay, and then you're going to go in the middle and do the same thing. And again, it's a little bit fiddly. So you're just going to wrap that around all the way around until it touches itself. And you can play with it until it, closes the gap. So then you have your decorative paper clip. Okay, so then I'm going to take a jump ring Now when you're doing your jump rings, make sure that you open them. Let me move some of this out of the way because it's going to mess with the focus. Make sure you open them this way. Whoops. So I'll kind of try and show you how. So get a hold of it and you're going to twist back and forth. If you twist out like this way, you're going to pull that jump ring apart and it'll break. And then I'm going to put my bead on, and I'm going to put my paper clip on, and then I'm going to close my jump ring back just like that. And you can hear just a little bit of a click when it closes and meets with the other piece. You want to make sure that it's good and closed, because if it's not, your bead or your paper clip is going to come off. So then you have your decorated paper clip. Okay, now I'm going to do a couple more because she asked for a couple more, so I'll try and do those a little bit quicker. So the first thing she asked for, well, she asked for this, but then I'm going to do another one of those real quick, and I am just going to take, you know what, let's use this that we'll use the eye pin that we made. All right, so let me just grab a little bead here. What bead do we want to use? Let's use this one. Okay, so now that we have, since we have the eye pin, you don't have to have the spacer on the bottom because it's not going to go anywhere. Okay, so we're just going to put our bead on the eye pin. We're going to go ahead and do our wire wrap again. Go at a 90-degree angle, twist up, bring it back towards you and down like that, and then twist your pliers up so that it's on the bottom row of your pliers, and then we're going to bring it on through this way. Okay, so it looks kind of like that. Okay, now I'm going to switch hands, and then I'm going to wrap this around hopefully y'all can see, until it's good and tight. Okay, so now that it's good and tight, I have this extra piece of wire here, and I can either cut it off or I can curl it. And so I think this is the part that she wanted me to show, is how I did the curling. So instead of cutting that off, I'm just going to take my round nose pliers, and I am going to put my wire in the very tip of my round nose pliers, and I'm going to make sure that it's flush. I don't want any of that wire sticking out, so I want it to be flush with the pliers. Okay, and then I'm going to just make a little loop. My eyes are not what they used to be, guys, so sometimes this takes me a minute. Okay, and then I'm just going to twist it all the way around until it comes back and touches itself. So it's going to look something like that. And then I'm going to pull my round nose pliers out. So you have the little loop started, and then I'm going to take, now a lot of people use the they're like a plier, but they're kind of more square, and they have the plastic on them. I forget the name of them. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about, but I don't have those, so I'm just going to use these pliers. And so what I do is I turn them backwards, and I'm going to place my little loop right there in the crook of those pliers, and then I'm just going to curl this bead up, pull it out, and what you're doing is you're actually curling the wire onto itself. Oh, sorry. So you just keep pushing it forward, and it'll be wrapped onto itself. Okay, and then once I get that done, I'm going to take my pliers, and I'm just going to turn, and if you can't get a good grip on it, you can hold your loop so that you can turn it good. It is fiddly to do it with, but then I'm just going to turn and make a little crook in my little loop, and then I'm going to curl that up a little bit more, just like that, and then I'm going to press it. I'm just going to press it down onto the bead. So then, instead of having to cut that wire off, you have a pretty little decorative swirl on your bead. And again, you can put it on a paper clip or a bulb pen. I'm just going to put this one on a bulb pen just to show you how cute they are. I'm trying to not let this video be super long. So there you have it on a bulb pen, and you can hang it on your journal or wherever you want to put it. So there's how you do the little swirl, and I'll be able to show you again in a minute another swirl. Okay, so the last one I'm going to show you, okay, we're going to pick one bead. Okay, you ever have those beads where you get them and you think, oh, they're so pretty, and they have a hole, but the hole doesn't go all the way through? What in the world? So I'm thinking, what am I ever going to be able to do with these beads? So I'll show you. So I'm going to take about 5 inches of my wire. So I'm going to cut 5 pieces of wire at 5 inches. Okay. So that's about 5 inches. And you want them all to be fairly similar in length. Okay, so hang on, I'm going to cut them and I'll come right back. Okay, so I have my 5 pieces of wire, and then I'm going to cut a piece about the width of my fingers. Doesn't have to be specific. Okay, so then I'm going to take these 5 pieces, and I'm going to try and straighten them out just a little. You don't want to do too much fiddling with them, because if you do, it's going to harden the wire and it's going to make it harder to work with. Okay, so we're going to take these 5 pieces and we're going to stack them up together, trying to get them as even as possible. And then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to wrap it around the middle. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of wrap it around the middle, and I'm going to wrap it here several times. And again, if you need to use your pliers, you can. So we're just going to wrap it and put those pieces together. Okay, and now I'm going to take my pliers and I'm just going to squeeze against my wire just to pull it a little closer together. And it just makes it a little neater, just like that. Okay, so you have something that looks like that. Okay, now you're going to separate your wire. I'm trying to separate it in, in place. So you're just going to kind of pull them out into like a little star shape, so to speak. Okay, and then we're going to take our bead that doesn't have the holes all the way through. You can do this with a marble or a stone or whatever, and you're just going to kind of sit it right on top of that. Now this part's a little fiddly because you've got to hold all these wires and the bead, but you're going to hold it as flat to that center piece as you can. Hold on, Gracie. Hang on, guys, I think she needs to potty. Sorry. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so you're just going to put your bead in the center and you're going to start wrapping your wire up around your bead. And again, this is pretty fiddly because you're trying to hold so many things at one time, but just kind of wrap it up to the top, because what you're going to do is you're going to make a little cage with your wire. Okay, and then as you get it to the top, you're going to kind of want to keep it spread out. So just kind of, spread them out. You're going to keep these two sticking out for a minute. And again, it's fairly fiddly, but as you're going, you can just kind of spread your wires out and get them in a good place. And see, like this one's wrapped over the top of this one, so you need to find it and pull it to the other side of it. There we go. Okay, and then once you get them at the top, you can start twisting. You want to kind of twist it into the top as much as possible. And as you're doing that, you're going to keep pulling out your wires, kind of stretching them out and spacing them out. Okay, and then I'm going to give it like a little twist. Okay, so that's going to kind of hold that in there for me, and then I can keep playing with it and space out my wires where I want them. And if you don't have fingernails, you can use your pliers to do this with. Okay, so I've kind of got it spaced out the way I like it. And I'm going to bring this up here. These extra pieces, from the piece that you wrapped down here. You're going to pull those up as well. And then we're going to kind of pull it and wrap it around. And again, you can use your pliers if you need to. And I'm just going to kind of keep pinching and twisting to get a good tight hold. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to pull it up and kind of wrap it around and use my pliers to kind of twist it. And get it in place. Okay, so now that I have everything wrapped around, I can again move these wires around into you know, spacing to where it's aesthetically pleasing. Okay, so now you have all of these wires at the top. What in the world are you going to do with them? I'm going to take my two longest ones. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spread them out, and the two that look the longest I'm going to leave sticking up. So I'm going to kind of pull these out, going around. Trying to make sure that I'm not getting them twisted together. Okay, so you have two sticking up at the top, and then you have all of these around. So what I'm going to do is very gently, I'm going to start twisting these two together. Okay, so I'm going to do it about 3 times. And then I'm going to take my pliers or my round nose or whichever. I'm going to hold it there, and I'm going to keep twisting until I get it twisted all the way up. Okay, so we're going to leave that for a minute. Now what are we going to do with these? Well, the first thing we want to do is kind of cut them to make them even all the way around. So we're going to cut. Okay, get rid of those because I don't want them in my carpet. Okay, so now we have them all even, and then we're just going to start twisting them. Okay, so we're going to take our round nose pliers, get it flush with the edge of the wire, and we're going to twist and make a loop. Okay, get it twisted all the way around and make a loop. Okay, and then once we have that touching, then we can take our pliers and I'm going to sit that in my pliers, and I'm just going to start bending that wire to start wrapping it around into a little swirl. Just like that. Okay, and so you have your little swirl there. So we're going to do that with all of these wires, but I'm not going to keep the video playing while I'm doing that because my video is getting kind of long, and I still wanted to show you one other thing. So let me do this real quick and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm going to do this last swirl on video just one more time so you can kind of again see how I did it, because I'm not sure if I had it in camera when I was doing it before. So we're going to put the end of our wire into flush with our pliers here, and we're just going to make a loop around, until it touches itself, like that. Okay, and then once it touches itself, you can take your pliers and you just start wrapping it up like this to make your swirl. Trying to make sure I'm staying in camera. Okay, so that's our last one, and we have all of these crazy swirls at the top. And we're thinking, what in the world are we going to do with all of these? So now we're just going to take our pliers and we're just going to start fiddling with them and placing them where we want them around the top of the bead. And they're going to be kind of stacked, and I think that's what makes it so pretty. So we're going to bring this one down. And then you can kind of move these around, you know, so you can get them placed where you want them. So we'll bring that one down. We're going to bring that one down. It's a little bit hard to do this on camera because I'm trying to make sure that I can see what I'm doing and make sure you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So you end up with something kind of like that, and it's really decorative at the top with all your little swirls. Okay, so now you can make sure that you have, you know, your wires where you want them around the bead. Make sure you have your swirls where you want them. And then this part, I'm just going to take the top of this and snip it off where it's not wrapped around itself. And that way we get a good even piece here at the top. Okay, and then I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to do the same thing I did with my wire wrapping on my beads. And I want kind of a bigger loop on this one. So I'm going to go right here and we're going to go forward at a 90-degree angle. Move our pliers up to the top and flip it back over. Twist our pliers like that. And then we're going to bring this underneath like that. So you have something like that. And then I'm going to switch hands. And I'm going to have to use my pliers for this part because now I have two pieces of wire. So we're just going to wrap this around. I'm trying to look at the camera and look at what I'm doing, and okay, so we're just going to keep pinching this until it's flush all the way around. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to stay in camera, guys. Okay, so then I'm going to take these pliers and I'm just going to kind of flatten out and twist my loop so that it's a good straight little loop. Now, a little disclaimer here, this is not my best work because it's really, but it just basically gives you the idea of how to do it, and you'll be able to do it a little easier when you're not on camera and trying to look at the camera and look at your bead and all that good stuff. So there you have one way to do your swirls in your beads in a cage. And if it's, you know, if you have a bead that doesn't have a hole in it, then you can still use it. So I'm going to end the video here because my camera keeps flashing at me that I have gone my maximum time amount. I was going to show you how to do a caged bead, a different kind of caged bead. So I'll come back and do another video to show you how to do that. So if you have any comments or questions, you can leave them in the comment box below. Please like and subscribe if you don't mind. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great day. Big hugs.